Welcome to the Living Water Chapel here at tsdreamangel.com, where I invite you to study along with me in a chapter by chapter, verse by verse, research study of the words of Jesus Christ. And I think it's important as a Christian that we get our teachings and our doctrine directly from Jesus Christ, since that's why he was sent, to give us the word and message of God. Please study along with me. This time we're going to study the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verses 1 through 19. Please read along with me. Okay, we begin at chapter 11, book of Matthew, verse 1, and it reads, "Now it came to pass, when Jesus finished commanding his 12 disciples, that he departed from there to teach and to preach in their cities." Verse 2, "And when John had heard in prison about the works of Christ, he sent out 2 of his disciples." Verse 3, "And said to him, Are you the coming one, or do we look for another?" Verse 4, "Jesus answered and said to them, Go and tell John the things which you hear and see." Verse 5, "The blind receive their sight, and the lame walk. The lepers are cleansed, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, and the poor have the gospel preached to them." Verse 6, "And blessed is he who is not offended because of me." Verse 7, "As they departed, Jesus began to say to the multitudes concerning John, What did you go out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken by the wind? But what did you go out to see? A man clothed in soft garments? Indeed, those who wear soft clothing are in kings' houses." Verse 9, "But what did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I say to you, and more than a prophet." Verse 10, "For this is he of whom it is written, Behold, I send my messenger before your face, who will prepare your way." Now, verse 11, "Assuredly I say to you, among those born of women, there has not risen one greater than John the Baptist, but he who is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he." Verse 12, "And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and the violent take it by force." Verse 13, "For all the prophets and the law prophesied until John." Verse 14, "And if you're willing to receive it, he is Elijah who is to come." Verse 15, "He who has ears to hear, let him hear." Verse 16, But to what shall I liken this generation? It is like children sitting in the marketplaces and calling to their companions." Verse 17, "And saying, We played the flute for you, and you did not dance. We mourned to you, and you did not lament. For John came neither eating nor drinking, and they say, He has a demon. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and they say, Look, a gluttonous man and a wine-bibber, a friend of tax collectors and sinners. But wisdom is justified by her children. And that concludes the teaching for today, the book of Matthew, chapter 11, verses 1 through 19. Please study alongside me at tsdreamangel.com. Thank you for studying. God bless you. Peace.